What's happening? Got another Reaper tutorial for you today. Today we're going to learn how to time stretch guitar tracks in the context of a project you're working on where maybe the guitar is played out of time, or in my case, I have a session here where I had a bar beats based track, or a tick based track, so to speak, and I changed the tempo map, and now my track is totally out of time. It gets out of time at one spot, and it's just screwed up the whole rest of the way. So quickly, I'm just going to play what it's supposed to sound like in this section. All right, now here is I'm going to mute that track, and here's the bad track. Okay, right here is where it starts to get off. Okay, now I'm ahead. The guitar player's ahead of time. And by that time, we're just behind where we should be. I may have even played this track out of time, to be quite honest. It's been a while since I recorded it. But anyway, so you hear that it gets off there, and so now I'm going to show you how to fix this. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open up the track manager to hide some tracks. We don't need to see the right track. We'll leave the drum track open just as a reference. And then we're going to want to zoom in on a section that we're going to want to work on. So we get the zoom tool, and we drag into this section that was where things started to get screwed up. And so we'll listen. All right, I can see some stuff that's just not quite in time here. So I'm going to zoom in a little more. All right, so one thing I'm going to want to do first before anything is I want to open up the preferences, because what we're going to do is we're going to drop some stretch markers down. But the stretch markers, just to make this easier, we're going to want to drop them wherever our cursor is. So not Reaper preferences, but if we open up our actions menu by hitting Shift ? And then we search for stretch, we have this add stretch marker at mouse position. So let's see, what's a good shortcut for this? How about we'll add a shortcut of Shift Q. Good. Close that out. All right, so now let's do it again. That's to me where it feels like it starts to get out of time. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, right in there. All right, so we got our Shift Q down, so we hover our mouse over where the start of the attack of the riff is, where we think it's partially out of time. We drop a stretch marker there. Here's another one here. Start of this peak, and then we'll go down and we'll start this peak. We'll Shift Q, drop another one. Okay, now we want to make sure our grid is on. That's the key. And then you can grab these stretch markers, and you snap them to the grid. That's kind of the genius of this whole thing. What you basically did is you grabbed the start of that where the riff should be played, and you're dragging out. And I can even look at this and tell that it's probably not going to sound like I think it should, but let's see. Yeah, that's perfectly in time now. So this one looks good. Let's do it again. Yeah, so that's good. So let's move a little further down. Yeah, those definitely are not great. So we'll get our Shift Q mouse cursor again, hover the mouse roughly where we think it should go, drop a marker, stretch marker, drop another time stretch marker, another one here. And I can tell all these things are kind of supposed to line up with the grid at those spots. And so then, yeah, so then we go and it's like, cool. Drag it again. And since we have snapped a grid on, it'll snap down on each of these things. So now, let me zoom out a little bit. We'll go back to here and we'll listen to it. And there you go. So that's a quick and easy way to edit your guitar performance to get it more in time with the grid that you're working with. Now, just a quick note, I'm doing this with a reamped guitar track. So I have inserts on this track, right? I have a Ignite Amps Emissary plugin on here, and if I bypass these, what you'll hear is the naked recording, right? That makes it a lot easier to see where the peaks and valleys are so that you can drop these markers in the right spot. Otherwise, if you're dealing with a track that you have actually, like, mic'd up a amplifier like a Marshall or Mesa Boogie, Engel, whatever, and you're using that amp's distortion, recording a distorted signal, you're not going to get these peaks and valleys the way you see them on here, and it's going to be a lot tougher to actually figure out where these spots to drop the stretch markers should be. So I always suggest doing this with a reamp track. It just takes a lot longer without one, but it is definitely possible. It just takes a lot more time. Maybe I'll do a video of that sometime in the future. Anyway, that's it for the video, and thanks a lot for watching.